Hello and good morning everyone to this problem session 3. And in our last two sessions we have been through many problems of spherical coordinate system and related to radiation characteristics of antenna. In this lecture we continue with the same theme also. Today we will have some more problems on radiation characteristics of antenna. So the first question is to calculate the beam width or 3 dB beam width of an antenna in theta equals to pi by 2 plane if radiated electric field is given by the expression as you can see on your screen. So before we start, first of all we should understand the question. The question says that we have to find the beam width. Now what is the meaning of beam width? So for any directional antenna we have a major lobe, and this major lobe is radiated by the antenna in a particular direction. A major lobe is one in which maximum of the power is radiated, and obviously there will be a direction in which maximum power is going to be radiated. Okay. Now, if suppose the antenna is radiating maximum power along suppose theta equals to pi by 2 direction in a given plane, then if you start reducing the angle theta from pi by 2, suppose you reduce it by pi by 2 to or 90 to 80, 70, 60, 40, 50, and similarly if you increase it from 90, suppose you make it 100, 110, 120, 130. So serially you can find some positions at which at which the radiated power is half of the maximum value. Okay, so correspondingly, the position at which, or I should say the angular separation between two positions at which the radiated power is half of the maximum radiated power is known as the 3 dB bandwidth. Here the meaning of 3 dB means half power. Okay, we know very well that 3 dB is equivalent to half power radiation. So 3 dB bandwidth means 3 dB less as compared to the maximum value. Okay, so this is our objective to find. Now how we will do that? So first of all we have to find the radiation characteristic or radiation pattern, and we know the radiation pattern is represented in terms of u theta phi, that means the radiation intensity itself. So first of all our objective is to find the radiation intensity. Now to make the question simpler, it is given that we have to find the radiation the beam width in theta equals to pi by 2 plane. So first of all, the given expression of electric field intensity, which is a theta cap cos theta cos phi minus a phi cap sin phi, multiplied by E0 e to the power minus j k r upon r volt per meter. First of all, we find electric field intensity in theta equals to pi by 2. Okay, how can we find theta electric field intensity in this particular plane? What is theta equals to pi by 2 plane? So theta equals to pi by 2 plane is the xy plane itself. Now, if you want to find the electric field intensity in theta equals to pi by 2 plane, you should substitute theta equals to pi by 2 in this particular expression, in this whole expression. So the resultant electric field in theta equals to pi by 2 plane is given by a theta cap cos, and in place of theta you placed pi by 2 cos phi minus a phi cap sin phi. E0 is peak value of electric field intensity and is supposed to be an arbitrary constant, multiplied by e to the power minus j k r upon r, the term related for responsible for the retardation. Okay. So cos pi by 2 is 0, and we have electric field intensity given by minus of a phi sin phi E0 e to the power minus j k r upon r. Okay, once we have electric field intensity, we have already used this term many times, that the time average power density or the Poynting vector in particularly harmonic case is given by S phasor, magnitude of S phasor, or the time average power density is given by 1 by 2 real part of E cross H star. Where what is the meaning of H star? We had already been through this expression. So H star is the magnetic field intensity, complex conjugate of magnetic field intensity, and in an electric field intensity we know very well that H star is equivalent to E star by eta. Okay, so we substitute the same thing here as we, at least for the this is the expression for magnitude. Finally, when we substitute the things, we got that the time average power density mod of S phasor is given by 1 by 2 eta into mod of E phasor square. So mod of E means magnitude of electric field intensity. You can find very well from this particular expression, since we have to find the beamwidth in theta equals to pi by 2 plane. That's why we will use this particular expression. And you can see that mod of E is equivalent to square sine square phi E0 square upon R square, and this e to the power minus j car sine phi E0 and R all are constant in that particular at any particular. What is or real, I should say, they are real, so they all comes in the magnitude itself. But the magnitude of e to the power minus j kr, we know very well from Euler's identity that e to the power minus j kr is sine cos kr minus j sine kr, and the magnitude is square root of cos kr square plus sine kr square, which is 1. So the magnitude of electric field phasor is given by E0 upon R sine phi, and we have to take the square of this magnitude. That's why we have E0 upon R sine phi whole square, which is equivalent to this particular expression. Hence, the time average power density here is given by this particular expression. Okay. Now, once we have the time average power density as, we know very well that radiation intensity at that particular point where we are having this much time average power density is given by u theta phi is equals to u, since we are concerned only about the theta equals to pi by 2 plane. That's why I used instead of using u theta phi, I used u theta phi in theta equals to pi by 2 plane, which you can write as u pi by 2 comma phi. This pi by 2 is the value of theta in that particular plane. So u pi by 2 comma phi will be equals to r square into this time average power density. So one thing is clear. This expression we had already used in our sum of numerical. We know very well that radiation intensity is equal to r square times the power density, time average power density. Okay, we have already derived the same relation many of the time in our class also, and in many numerical we have already used it. So if you have magnitude of radiation, magnitude of time average power density, you can find radiation intensity by multiplying it to r square. So we multiplied it by r square, and we found that the expression for u pi by 2 comma 5 or radiation intensity in theta equals to pi by 2 plane is given by 1 upon 2 eta r square cancel 1 upon 2 eta E0 square sine square phi. So this is the final expression for radiation intensity. What we had did till now, we have given electric field intensity. Using electric field intensity phasor, we find the time average power density at that particular point, at any arbitrary point. Once we have time average power density, by multiplying it to r square, we find the radiation intensity at that particular point. Once we have radiation intensity, now radiation intensity represents the characteristics of the radiation characteristic of the antenna. So in theta equals to 90 plane, this is theta equals to 90 plane. We know very well theta equals to 90 plane is equivalent to xy plane. Next, this axis is x-axis and this is y-axis. So in theta equals to 90 plane, at different point, radiation pattern or this radiation intensity u equal to pi by 2 comma phi has been plotted. And as you can see, in the direction phi equals to 0, which is x direction. In direction phi equals to 90, which is y direction. In direction phi equals to 180, which is again minus x. And phi equals to 270, which is minus y. So at different values of phi, when you substitute different values of phi here, when you substitute phi equals to 0 here, you find 1 by 2 eta E0 square into sine 0, which is 0. So in this direction, no power is radiated, as you can see in the figure. At phi equal to 180, again it is 0, no power is radiated in this particular direction. So along positive x direction and along negative x direction, there will be no radiation. Okay, along y-axis direction, or I should ask you that in which direction this expression will radiate, will achieve the maxima, or I should say in which direction in theta equals to pi by 2 plane this radiation intensity become maximum. So obvious answer is in the direction of phi equals to 90 degree. So phi equals to 90 degree is this y-axis, and along this direction the maximum power density or maximum radiation intensity is given by 1 upon 2 eta E0 square. In this direction, the same thing I have written here, that the maximum value of radiation intensity in theta equals to pi by 2 plane, which is u pi by 2 comma phi maximum, will be along the direction when phi equals to pi by 2. So you substitute u pi by 2 comma pi by 2. In place of phi, we use pi by 2. Substitute here, and we get the maximum radiated power or maximum radiation intensity is given by E0 square by 2 eta, and it is in the direction of 90. Okay, So now our objective is to find two positions around phi equals to 90 degree in theta equals to 90 plane, where the radiation intensity is half of the maximum value. So I have written here that at 3 dB points as shown in figure, at 3 dB points, the radiation intensity should become half of the maximum value. So u pi by 2 comma 3 phi should be equal to half of u pi by 2 comma phi maxima, and u pi by 2 comma phi maxima is E0 square by 2 eta. So the values of phi for which we get this much radiated power is our point of interest. So u pi by 2 comma phi is written as 1 upon 2 eta E0 square sin square phi. It should be equals to half of this value. So half of 1 upon 2 eta E0 square we cancel out, and we find that phi correspondingly has two values, 45 degree and 135 degree. So phi equals to 45 degree. This is 0, this is 90, this is 180. So phi equals to 45 is in between somewhere here, and phi equals to 135 is in between somewhere here. And at these two positions, at phi equals to 45 and at phi equals to 135, the radiated power is half of this maximum value. If maximum value is E0 square upon 2 eta, at this point you are having radiated power E0 square upon 4 eta, and at radiation intensity E0 square upon 4 eta. Okay, so we had find two points position at which the radiation intensity or radiated power is half of the maximum value, or 3 dB less of the maximum value, and correspondingly the difference between these two is known as the 3 dB beam width, or difference is 135 minus 45. So the beam width is given by, or 3 dB beam width is given by 135 minus 45 degree, that is equivalent to 90. Okay. Okay. So heading to the next question. Next question is a combination of theory and practical, theory and numerical. Okay, so we will use some theoretical results, we'll use some theoretical equations already in our hand, and try to prove something. So what you have to prove, or what you have to verify, that for using Maxwell's equation, derive an expression for magnetic field in far field region of an antenna. Electric field intensity is given by this expression here. Okay, so first question is, you have to find magnetic field intensity. You have placed an antenna at somewhere and at the origin, and it is radiating electromagnetic field. So at any point t in far field of this antenna, electric field is given by this particular expression. Once you have electric field given by this particular expression, once you have given electric field intensity given by this particular expression, your objective is to find magnetic field number. Okay, so first thing is to find magnetic field intensity due to this electric field. Okay, and then you have to verify that the ratio of theta component of electric field to phi component of electric field is equivalent to minus of ratio of phi component of electric field to theta component of electric field, and both of them are equal to a constant, and that constant is called eta. Eta is the intrinsic impedance of the medium. In general, this is already we had proved in our electromagnetic theory syllabus, but here we have to verify the same result. Okay, we know very well that when an electromagnetic wave propagates in the medium, at any point the ratio of theta component of electric field to phi component of magnetic field, or negative of phi component of electric field to theta component of magnetic field, is a constant, and this constant depends on the medium. Okay, and this constant is known as intrinsic impedance of the medium, which is given by root mu upon epsilon. So while finding magnetic field phasor H with the help of this E, and then verifying the ratio, we can prove that eta will be given by root mu by epsilon, and the same result will be verified. Okay, so we have given that electric field phasor in far field due to the test antenna is given by this particular expression here. Okay, no problem. And we know very well these are the four Maxwell equations in source free medium. Okay, since in question we have not given any condition about the sources, we have not given that the medium is source free or not. So since it is not given in the question, we consider from our end that the medium is source free, and when the medium is source free, we have derived in our last session that in source free medium, Maxwell equation looks like this particular expression, where the current density J and solute charge density rho V are all 0. So these are 4 Maxwell's equation in source free region, and correspondingly we use this second equation. Since E is given to us, and we have to find H, that's why we use this second equation. If H has been given to, if H would have been given to us and we have to find E, then we will use first equation. Okay, so in second equation, if anyhow we find the curl of this quantity, this expression, and then that curl, of course it's a vector quantity, will be equals to minus j omega mu times the magnetic field intensity phasor H. Okay, so first of all our objective is to find del cross E. So del cross electric field phasor, or since electric field phasor is given in spherical coordinate system, and in spherical coordinate system the expression for curl is little different from the that we use for rectangular coordinate system. So the expression is given by, or the curl of electric field phasor, or curl of any vector field is given by 1 upon r squared sine theta into determinant of this particular expression, where er, r e theta and r sine theta e phi. Er is radial component of electric field intensity given, E theta is theta component of electric field intensity phasor, and E phi is phi component of electric field intensity phasor. If you go on looking this electric field intensity phasor, you can very well check that you are not having any radial component. There is no AR cap dot something term. What you are having is just a theta component and a phi component. Okay, so theta component is cos theta sine phi multiplied by E0 e to the power minus j k r upon r, and phi component is cos phi into e to the power E0 e to the power minus j k r upon r. Okay, okay. So as usual, we expand this determinant 1 upon r squared sine theta is same. First, we find the component in r direction. So AR cap here as it is. This column, this row, we relieve del by del theta of r sine theta e phi here minus del by del phi of r e theta here. In r a theta direction, so we place a minus sign, minus of r a theta cap, and then leaving middle column and first row we have del by del r of r sine theta e phi minus del by del phi of er, as you can see here, plus the third component r sine theta a phi multiplied by, leaving third column and first row we have del by del r of r e theta minus del by del theta of er. Okay, since er is 0, these two terms will be 0. We are not concerned with del by del phi of er and del by del theta of er. We have to find 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. You use the usual expression. I have written these things here. Since the theta component is given by E0 cos theta sine phi to the power minus j k r upon r, and E phi is given by E0 cos phi to the power minus j k r upon r. So we first find the first differential coefficient or partial differential coefficient used to find the curve. First is del by del theta of r sine theta e phi. So we substitute del by del theta r sine theta, and in place of e phi we substitute this whole term E0 cos phi to the power minus j k r upon r. This r and r cancel out, and finally we have differentiation of this term. In this term E0 is constant, you can take it outside. When you are partial differentiating with respect to theta, phi and r are constant, so cos phi and e to the power minus j k r are all constant. They can also be taken out of this differentiation, and what we have is just del by del theta of sine theta, which is equals to cos theta. So E0 cos phi cos theta e to the power minus j k r is the this differential coefficient. Similarly, we find del by del phi of r e theta and remaining 2 or 3 differential coefficients, and once we find them, we substitute all of them with appropriate signs in this particular expression, and when we perform little manipulations which are not very difficult, we have to perform just some algebraic manipulations, we find that the del cross E can be written as AR into 0. There is no component in radial direction, so AR into 0, A theta cap multiplied by E0 cos phi jk e to the power minus j k r upon r minus a phi cap E0 cos theta sin phi jk e to the power minus j k r upon. Okay, okay. So suppose this is our equation number 1, and our objective is to find magnetic field intensity. Okay, so assume that the magnetic field intensity in spherical coordinate system is given by HR AR cap plus h theta a theta cap plus h phi a phi cap, where hr, h theta and h phi are components of magnetic field intensity phasor in radial, theta and phi direction respectively. Okay, so substituting this expression for h in that second equation of Maxwell and substituting del cross E, what we have find here in this particular expression of the second equation, we found that when you substitute both the things, you compare, you start comparing the things. So the radial component of del cross E is 0 and radial component of H is HR. When you substitute this here, you have j omega mu HR, the radial component, and the radial component of del cross E is 0. When you compare, you find that the radial component of magnetic field is also. We are comparing when two vectors are equal to each other, their components should be equal. Or it implies that their components will be equal. So we are comparing the individual components. So the radial component on left hand side is equals to minus j omega mu hr, and on right hand side it is equals to 0, which gives you the radial component of magnetic field phasor is 0. Similarly, when you compare the theta component of right hand side is minus j omega mu h theta, and that of del cross E is given by this expression E0 cos phi jk e to the power minus jk r upon r. We substitute everything here. So after cancellation, you find that h theta will be equals to minus of E0 cos phi e to the power minus jk r upon r upon omega mu by k. What is omega? Of course, omega is the angular frequency of the wave propagating. Mu is the permeability of the medium, and k is the propagation, phase constant, 2 pi by lambda. So as I have written over there, E0 cos phi e to the power minus jkr upon r. E0 cos phi e to the power minus jkr upon r is actually the phi component of electric field intensity given. So this is what, this is the phi component of electric field intensity given, and this is a constant. By the way, we represent this constant by eta. So we have h theta is equals to minus of e phi upon eta, or e phi upon h theta is equals to minus eta, by just keeping this h theta on the right hand side and eta on the left hand side. So you get this particular expression. Okay. Similarly, when we compare the phi component, so we have minus j omega mu h phi is equals to minus jk, and in this component here, the E0 cos theta sin phi e to the power minus jk r upon r. In this complete expression, if you keep jk outside, the remaining is the phi component, theta component of electric field intensity. So we substitute minus jk e theta, and later on by simple manipulation, we find that e theta upon h phi is equals to eta. This is equals to minus eta, this is equals to eta. So by proper comparison, we can very well write that e theta upon h phi is equals to minus of e phi by h theta, which is equals to eta. And what is eta, by the way? So eta is an arbitrary constant we have considered, given by omega mu upon k. Omega is 2 pi f, k is 2 pi by lambda. So what we have is 2 pi f upon 2 pi, and the lambda in denominator comes up in the numerator, multiplied by mu. 2 pi cancel, and f into lambda is actually the speed of light. And we have c mu, and we know that in any medium with permeability mu and permittivity epsilon, the speed of electromagnetic wave is given by 1 upon root mu epsilon. So we substitute 1 upon root mu epsilon in place of c and get mu upon root mu epsilon. Cancelling square root of mu and getting a square root of mu here, but the resultant is square root of mu by epsilon. And we know very well that square root of mu by epsilon is the intrinsic impedance of the medium, and hence we had proved that thing. So in this manner, we found the magnetic field intensity using the given electric field intensity at any point in the medium, in the source free medium, and then later on we proved that the theta component of electric field and phi component of magnetic field, the ratio of theta, e theta and h phi is equals to ratio of minus of e phi to h theta, and both these ratios are constant. That constant value is given by eta, the intrinsic impedance of. Okay, so that's how we come to the solution of the second question. Okay. Now uh, we are using the results we have just derived to simplify uh, the solution finding mechanism for such questions. So we have to find the magnetic field. Sorry, it is find, no, it's not G, it is D. So we have to find magnetic field intensity radiated by an antenna if radiated electric field phasor is given by this particular equation. And to make the question simpler, I have considered E is having only just single component in theta. There is no radial component, R component, and no phi component. So ER and E phi both are zero. What we are having just is a uh, E theta component. Okay. So this ER is zero, E theta is given by this particular expression, and E phi is. Now we know very well that E theta by H phi is equals to minus of E phi by H theta is equals to eta for any electromagnetic wave in that specific medium. And eta is a medium dependent quantity which is known as intrinsic impedance and given by square root of mu by epsilon, where mu is the permeability of the medium and epsilon is the permittivity of the medium. So that depends on the medium. Using that expression E theta by H phi equals to this, we use first of all this particular expression. So E theta by H phi equals to eta will give you H phi is equals to E theta by eta, and correspondingly we place this particular expression and get that E0 cos theta e to the power minus j k r upon eta r. This is the this completely is the expression for the phi component of magnetic field intensity. Okay. Now again using the second term, the second portion, minus E phi upon H theta equals to E theta will give you H theta equals to minus of E phi by eta. Okay. But when you have a situation like this, you S theta is equals to minus of E phi by eta. Since E phi is given to you as 0, so that's why the H theta component is also 0. Correspondingly, the magnetic field intensity is having just a single phi component. And that phi component can be written as E0 cos theta e to the power minus j k r upon eta. Okay. This type of relation we generally have used in many of our previous question where we try to find the average power density or time average power density. Okay. What we do, the Poynting vector is or the time average power density given by 1 upon 2 real part of E cross H star, and we substitute we replace H by E by eta. So essentially what is this? So we are actually using this component there. Okay, we leave the direction. We are not concerned with the direction, though we should consider it. But to make the question simpler, we generally use only the magnitude of uh, magnetic field intensity, this which is equivalent to electric magnitude of electric field intensity by eta. Okay, if we have electric field intensity having E theta and E phi component both, in that case we have to take care that with which value, with which component of magnetic field intensity we have to multiply which component of electric field intensity. Okay, maybe in some of our next question we will try to look at that particular aspect. Okay. So in this manner, we can use this relation E theta by H phi is equals to minus E phi by H theta is equals to eta in order to find the magnetic field intensity. Okay. So we are heading on to our next question. So the question is to derive an expression for time average power density associated with a wave radiated by an antenna. If the radiated electric field intensity is given by this electric phasor A theta cap cos theta minus 1 e to the power minus j k r upon r. This term e to the power minus j k r upon r is always there. Okay, this term is responsible for the retardation effect, which is the base for antenna radiation or antenna wave propagation. So what you have to do right now is to find time average power density. Before we start finding time average power density, of course we can find it very easily, but before we start finding this expression, it is better for us to to understand the meaning. Okay, so what is the meaning of time average? Generally, in electromagnetic theory, the we encounter with the cases of propagating waves. Okay. And in propagating waves, electric and magnetic field both, when you consider electric and magnetic field both, they both are harmonically varying. Okay. So in a particular time duration, say suppose capital T. So if capital T is supposed to be time duration of that particular harmonic wave or the wave, in that case, in a particular duration, capital T, the power radiated by the wave varies. Okay, and once the power radiated by the wave is varying, what we do, we find the total power density in a particular interval capital T. Okay, how can we find power density? So later on we will find that the power density is given by the Poynting vector. Okay, so this question is related to distinguishing the interpretation of Poynting vector and the time average power density. Later on, after completion of the numerical, I will try to explain that what is the difference between time average power density and the Poynting vector. Okay. So assume that this E is given by A theta cap cos theta. It was already given that E is equals to A theta cap cos theta minus 1 e to the power minus j kr upon r. And since we have to find the time average power density, we should include the time factor now. And we know very well that this factor, this expression given to you is actually electric field intensity phasor. We have to find the instantaneous equivalent to this. Okay. So before we find instantaneous quantity to them, we find magnetic field phasor. And we know very well when we are having just theta component in electric field, we find only the phi component of magnetic field given by A phi cap H phi. And H phi will be from this expression, H phi will be E theta by eta. So this is the expression for E theta, and divided by eta will give you the magnetic field intensity phasor. So this is the expression for electric field intensity phasor, and this is for magnetic field intensity phasor. What is this electric and magnetic field phasors are? So when you are supposing that an antenna is placed at origin, and because of this there is a wave radiated, when this radiated wave reaches a particular point P, at that particular point, this is the electric and magnetic field available. Okay. Okay. Now, since these two things are phasor, phasors will generally, phasors are defined only for harmonic fields, number one. And number two, in phasors, because of their harmonic variation, we remove the time dependence. And what we have is just the phase dependence or space dependence. So using these phasors, we find the instantaneous variation in electric and magnetic field at that particular point. So we know very well that instantaneous values can be found using phasors value by in this particular way, that instantaneous value of electric field intensity E. This is the solid vector here. So this is instantaneous value. Instantaneous electric field intensity is given by a real part of the phasor multiplied by e to the power j omega t. Okay, and we have given that electric field intensity phasor is actually A theta cap cos theta minus 1 e to the power minus j kr upon r. Multiplying this with e to the power j omega t, and then extracting only the real part will give you the instantaneous form. So it is real part of this form. Now A theta cap cos theta minus 1 upon r is real, so we are not concerned about it. In these two expressions, e to the power minus j kr and e to the power j omega t, jointly they can be written, since they are having same basis, the powers can be added up, and we have e to the power j omega t minus kr, and this is real portion. Only e to the power j omega t minus kr can be expressed using Euler's identity, cos omega t minus kr plus j sin omega t minus kr. And when we take only the real part, the electric field intensity, instantaneous value of electric field intensity will be A theta cap cos theta minus 1 upon r cos of omega t minus kr. This is the electric field intensity, instantaneous value. And similarly, you can find the magnetic field intensity instantaneous value as given by A phi cap cos theta minus 1 upon eta r cos of omega t minus kr. You can see very well that with respect to time, there is both the two electric and magnetic field at point P are in same phase. They are increasing and decreasing in same fashion with respect to time and distance also. Only thing is different, that E is oscillating in theta plane or theta direction, and phi is oscillating in phi direction. They are having components along theta direction and phi direction respectively. Okay, so you can assume or you can visualize this particular wave, that the wave is radiating or increasing in r direction. Electric field is oscillating in theta direction, one direction perpendicular to r, and magnetic field is oscillating in the direction perpendicular to both electric field as well as the direction of propagation. Okay, one more thing, and both of the two oscillations are in same phase, means if electric field intensity magnitude is 0, magnetic field magnitude is also 0. If electric field achieves its maximum, magnetic field achieves its maximum. If electric field is having magnitude 0.5 of maxima, the magnetic field also is having magnitude 0.5 of the maximum. Only thing which is differing the two values or two field is eta, and because of eta, magnetic field intensity and electric field intensity, the peak value of the two quantities is different. Okay, one is having peak value cos theta minus 1 upon r at a particular distance r, and at the same point h is having magnitude cos theta minus 1 upon eta r. Okay. Now, from our knowledge of electromagnetic theory, we know very well that if we have an antenna placed at origin, or if a wave is propagating in free space or in any medium, and in the path of wave propagation, there exists a point P, and electric and magnetic field due to the wave propagation at point P is given by instantaneous values E and H, as you can see here. Then E cross H gives you the Poynting vector or the power density at that particular point. This is the power density. Keep this thing in mind. This is power density at that particular point. Okay. This is power density at that particular point T when you have given E and H. Our objective is not to find power density, rather our objective is to find the average power density. Okay, so the instantaneous Poynting vector S, or instantaneous power density. Instantaneous power density means power density at that particular instant. This is a function of time. So at different time, you can have different values of power density at the same point. Our objective is not to find this, because this is time dependent. We have to find a quantity which is independent of time. We have to find average over a particular duration, average of these power density over a particular duration. Okay, so instantaneous power density by the definition of Poynting vector is given by S is equals to E cross H. Okay. And when we multiply S is equals to E cross H, actually E is, you can see here, this is the expression for E. E is having a theta component in a theta cap direction. H is having phi component only, and the magnitude is just magnitude of E divided by eta. As you can see, this is magnitude of E cos theta minus 1 upon r cos omega t minus kr, and this is magnitude of H cos theta minus 1 upon r cos omega t minus kr divided by eta. So this H is actually magnitude of E theta divided by eta, and that's why we have written E of a theta cap cross, this is the cross product, H is replaced by E magnitude of E by eta into a phi cap. Okay, I hope you are not having any problem in representing this. Once again, I explain this what I have did here. When you are performing cross product or dot product, you can represent the vectors. Suppose we are having two vectors E and H as shown here, and we have to perform the cross product. You can represent these two vectors in terms of their magnitude along unit vector, for both. Since magnitudes are not at all concerned with the cross product or dot product, so you directly multiply the magnitudes. So magnitude of electric field intensity is the magnitude of electric field intensity is given by this mod of E. So mod of E into the direction a theta cap, and magnitude of magnetic field intensity is mod of E upon eta into the direction a phi cap, and jointly the instantaneous Poynting vector is mod of E square upon eta a theta cap cross a phi cap. Okay. Now when we perform this manipulation, mod of E square is cos theta minus 1 whole square cos square omega t minus kr upon r square, eta is there, and a theta cross a phi is ar cap. So that is the instantaneous power density at the same point where you have find the instantaneous electric and magnetic. Okay, this is the meaning of instantaneous power density or the Poynting vector. What is the Poynting vector? Poynting vector is instantaneous power density. Our objective is to find the time average power density. Now suppose you have given an expression which is harmonically time varying, and you have to find its average value. How do you find the average value? How do you find the average value? This is the power density. So this is power density at time t. In time dt, how much total power will be there? So total power will be there is given by this particular magnitude multiplied by dt, as you can see. So the time average power density will be over a complete interval. So suppose the interval for the wave is starting at time t equals to 0 and completing at time capital T. In that case, the total power propagating in that particular interval will be given by 0 to t into power density integrated over time. Okay, this is the total power. And what is our objective? Our objective is to find the average power density. So we have to divide this thing by 1 upon t, or divide the thing by the time for which you have added all the power densities. So this will give you the time average power density. Okay, when you perform the integration is simpler. With respect to t, cos theta minus 1 upon r square eta is constant, 2 is also constant, 1 upon t is there, so you keep everything outside. You have to integrate only 1 plus just a minute. You have to integrate just this cos square omega t minus kr, and cos square omega t minus kr can be written as 1 plus cos of 2 omega t minus kr. When you integrate this thing with respect to t, integration of 1 will give you t, and integration of cos 2 omega t minus kr will give you sin 2 omega t minus kr. When you substitute the limit from 0 to t, small t will give you capital T only. And when you substitute this capital T here, you have sine of 2 omega capital T minus kr and minus sine of 2. And when you substitute t equals to 0 here, you have sine of 2 into 0 minus kr. Now, sine of 2 omega t. What is omega? So omega is the angular frequency of the medium. Oh, sorry, angular frequency of the wave. What is t? T is the time period of the wave. So omega into t is equivalent to 2 pi f into t, and f into t is 1. Okay, because f is equals to 1 upon t. So what you have is 2 pi here. So equivalently, this expression is sine of 2 into 2 pi minus kr, or sine of 4 pi minus kr. And we know that sine of 4 pi minus kr is minus sine kr. Equivalently, in this particular expression, you have sine of 2 into 0 minus kr, which is sine of minus 2 kr. And sine of minus 2 kr is minus sine 2 kr. Equivalently, what we have is this expression sine 2 kr upon 2 omega negative and sine 2 kr upon 2 omega positive, and this two expression will cancel out each other. You get only t, this t and t will cancel, and what you have is cos theta minus 1 upon eta r square in ar cap direction along with this 1 by 2. This 1 by 2 here. Okay, one very interesting result is going on to be used now. This cos theta minus 1 upon r square can be written as cos theta minus 1 upon r into cos theta minus 1 upon eta r. There is no problem in that, in writing this. Okay. And similarly, we multiply e to the power minus j kr and e to the power plus j kr here. Again, there is no problem in that. And also AR cap is written as A theta cap cross A phi cap. Again, there is no problem in that. Now cos theta minus 1 r e to the power minus j kr and this A theta cap. I use this particular magnitude with A theta cap and this particular magnitude with A phi cap. Okay. When I use this particular magnitude with A theta cap, I got cos theta minus 1 e to the power minus j kr upon r A theta cap. Cross product is there. And cos theta minus 1 upon eta r e to the power plus j kr a phi cap, I express this in terms of the complex conjugate. So when I write complex conjugate, cos theta minus 1 upon eta r and a phi cap, they will not have any problem with that. Only the thing changes with complex conjugate is this plus sign become minus sign. So what you have is e to the power minus j kr and complex conjugate. And previously we had already proved that or we have already verified here that A theta cap cos theta minus 1 e to the power minus j kr upon r is electric field intensity phasor. And similarly, A phi cap cos theta minus 1 e to the power minus j r upon eta r is actually the magnetic field intensity phasor. So what you get is this quantity is electric field intensity phasor and this quantity is magnetic field intensity phasor complex conjugate. And that's why the time average power density 1 by 2 is given by 1 by 2 real part of E phasor cross complex conjugate of H phasor. This is a very important relation, or this is a very important result to prove from our end, and it is very important for us to understand also. Okay, so if you are having just electric and magnetic field intensities given in time, but they are not harmonic, in that case, the power density is not power density is time varying, but it is not periodically varying. And so there is no meaning of using this particular expression. There is no meaning of using time average power density. Okay, in that case, the important thing is to find the instantaneous power density at any particular point as given by S is equals to E cross H. S is equals to E cross H. Okay, this is the general thing. This is general. This is true for everything. S is equals to E cross H is true for every field, every electromagnetic field. You can find this thing for every electromagnetic field. But if the electromagnetic field is harmonic, if it is harmonically time varying, it is not random. In that case, you can find the time average power density, which is averaged over a particular cycle of the propagating wave or averaged over a particular time duration in which a complete oscillation takes place. Then that particular time average power density is given by 1 by 2 real part of E cross H star, where E and H both are phasor quantities. Okay. So in this manner, we come to end of this particular question. Okay, if you have any query, you can very well ask. I will answer. You can ask me on my WhatsApp number and I will try to answer your query. Okay. Okay. So this is our next question. To calculate the radiated and dissipated power by an antenna, if the input power is 1.5 kilowatt and radiation efficiency is 95%. The logic of this question here is to understand what is the meaning of radiation efficiency. We know very well that suppose you are having a source with zero impedance. The source impedance is zero, and it is connected to an antenna. Now the antenna is having, or now the antenna is made of metallic material, and so when source is connected to the antenna and flow of current across the antenna starts, so there will be some losses, some copper losses. Okay, so considering all copper losses, whatever there be in the antenna, we consider all the copper losses represented by this value RC, and the remaining power which is get radiated into the free space, we represent it by we represent the atmosphere as the resistance RR. Okay, so we can consider the condition where a source is connected to an antenna. The antenna is having two resistance. One is RC. RC means the loss resistor, and RR is the radiation resistance. Now, since some power is supplied, some of the power get dissipated across RC. This is the power loss. Okay, and remaining the power is dissipated across RR, the radiation resistance, which we consider as useful for us. This is the power which was radiated by the antenna in free space. Okay, and what is the efficiency? Efficiency tells the ratio of the radiated power to the total input power. Okay, so in this particular case, since the total input power is given as 1.5 kilowatt, and we consider the power dissipated in loss as P loss and power radiated by antenna as P rad, then from the conservation of energy, power input will be equals to power loss plus power radiation, and then the radiation efficiency is defined as P rad upon P. So P rad is the radiated power. Radiated power is given by, and it is given that P rad upon P in is 95%. 95% means 95 by 100 or 0.95. Then substituting 0.95 in place of E P-red we have to find, and Pin is given as 1.5 kilowatt. When you multiply this, you find that 1425 watt is the amount of power which is radiated by the antenna. And then dissipated power will be, it will be the difference of input power to the radiated power. If you have provided 1500 watts to the antenna and it has radiated 1425 watt, then the remaining 75 watt power is dissipated in loss. So power dissipated is given by 75 watt. Okay, this is a simple idea. Okay. Okay. So now we head to our last problem. Now we have to calculate the maximum power density at a distance of 5000 meters from the antenna. If its directivity is given by 3.5 dBi, and the efficiency of antenna is radiation is 80%, and input power is given by 10 kilowatt. So what you have to find out is the power density at a distance of 5000 meters, at distance of 5000 kilometers. Okay, and efficiency is given to you, it is 80%. Input power is given to you 10 kilowatt, and directivity is given to you 3.5 dBi. Generally, there are one or more things to understand here. As we have performed in our last numerical, we have given input power, which is 10 kilowatt, and we have given the efficiency as 80%. Since the efficiency is 80% and input power is 10 kilowatt, how much power will be radiated by the antenna? Obviously, it is 80% of 10 kilowatt, which is 8 kilowatt. Okay, so you radiate 8 kilowatt of the power. So first thing we will find is total power radiated. Once we have total power radiated, we will think about directivity. Here, directivity is given as 3.5 dBi. What is the meaning of directivity, or what is the meaning of directivity written in dBi? So in our classroom sessions, we have understood that directivity is the ratio of radiation intensity of the antenna divided by average radiation intensity, or radiation intensity of the antenna upon radiation intensity of an isotropic antenna excited with the same input power. So if input power provided to the antenna is given by 10 kilowatt, and the same power is fed to an isotropic antenna also, in that case the radiation intensity of both, the ratio of both the radiation intensity of test antenna to the radiation intensity of isotropic antenna is known as directivity. Okay, and if this ratio of radiation intensity of test antenna by the radiation intensity of isotropic antenna is found in dB, 10 log 10 base of this particular ratio, the resultant directivity will be have a unit of dBi. dBi means decibel with relative to isotropic antenna. This is a general unit for representing directivity. dBi is decibel relative to isotropic antenna. Okay, so this is directivity. One more thing important here. Generally, directivity, as we have derived, directivity is a function of direction. In different direction, you get different directivity. Okay, so generally, it should be given in a particular, or it should be given as a function of direction. But in this particular case, it is not so. Directivity is not given as a function of theta, phi, or anything. It is just given a value. So if in particular question you have given directivity as this just a single value, you should consider that this is the maximum value of directivity in some arbitrary direction. We don't know the direction, and even we are not concerned with the direction. Okay, we should consider that this is the maximum value of directivity, and this directivity is along the distance in which we have to calculate the power density. Is it clear? As you know very well, I had made it clear in the figure also. This is our antenna. Input power is 10 kilowatt. Antenna is having an efficiency of 80%. So total of 8 kilowatt power is going to be radiated. Okay, this power is radiated by the antenna. We have to find at this particular point how much power is reaching at this particular point at a distance of 5000 meters. So since we have given directivity value 3.5 dBi, we consider that this is the directivity in this particular direction also. in this particular direction, 3.5 dBi. What is the meaning of dBi? dBi is the decibel relative to isotropic antenna, general unit for representing directivity. Okay, so first of all, we find the power radiated, which is 8 kilowatt. Then we have given D is equal to 3.5 dBi. This is the maximum value of directivity in the direction where in which we have to find the received power density. Okay, now we know very well that directivity is given by U theta phi upon U theta phi average, or the radiation intensity of the test antenna, which we do not know, upon the radiation intensity of isotropic antenna, which is given by what is the difference between test antenna and isotropic antenna? Test antenna is this, which is radiating power in a particular direction. Isotropic antenna is one which radiates power in equally in all possible directions. So when it radiates equally in all possible directions, that means the total power period of 8 kilowatt is distributed along all 4 pi steradian, or along 4 pi steradian solid angle. So in unit solid angle, the power radiate will be period upon 4 pi. So that is the radiation intensity for isotropic antenna. U theta phi we don't know. This is we are trying to find. And in this particular direction, this is the general expression for directivity. And in this particular direction, where directivity is maximum, in this particular direction where we are assuming that directivity is maximum given by 3.5 dBi, U theta phi also become maximum because D is proportional to U theta phi. So in direction where D is maximum, U theta phi is also maximum, and this quantity is constant. Okay, D max is given by 3.5 dBi. So 3.5 dBi can be converted to simple directivity by using this just 10 log 10 base D max. When this 10 comes here, we have 3.5 divided by 10. When you remove log, you get 10 to the power 3.5 divided by 10, which is equals to this value, 10 to the power 0.35. So we substitute 10 to the power 0.35 in place of D max. U theta phi max, I don't know. So we use U theta phi max as it is. Power radiated is 8 kilowatt upon 4 pi. And in this way, we find U theta phi max given by this particular expression. This is the radiation intensity in the maximum directivity, in the direction of maximum directivity. Okay. Now we know very well, if radiation intensity is in our hand, we can find the power density at any point, or we have the relation between the radiation intensity to power density. Okay, we know that U theta phi is equals to R square times S. Radiation intensity is equals to R square times the power density. Okay, and so U theta phi max will be equals to R square times S theta phi max. Okay, so from this expression, we have S theta phi max is equals to U theta phi max upon R square. Now, R is the distance at which we have to find the power density. At which distance we have to find? So we have to find the power density as at 5000 meter. So we substitute 5000 meter square at this particular point. U theta phi max is given by this expression, or minus 0.35 into 8k upon 4 pi. And we found that S theta phi max is given by this, or minus 0.35 into 8000 upon 4 pi into 5000. By mathematical calculation, simple, we find that S theta phi max is 57 microwatt per meter square. Okay. So this is the power density at a distance of 5000 meter. 5000 meter is equivalent to 5 kilometers. So you can think of, if you are sending 8 kilowatt power from this antenna, which is having this much directivity in a direction, then along that particular direction, the power received at 5000 meter, that means after 5 kilometer you will receive how much power density? It is 557 microwatt per meter. If your antenna aperture is around 10 to the power 6 meter square, in that case you find some 57 watt power. 10 to the power 6 meter square is very large aperture. Okay, so you can think of that in antenna theory, we will deal with very small powers radiated by the antenna, and what we receive is also very small. Okay, so that comes to the end of this particular session, and so we'll meet tomorrow with some more questions. Okay. So thank you and thank you very much.